Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Our whole goal here is to take really complex stuff and make it super clear and, actually useful for you.
So if you're a business leader right now, the world of AI, wow, it can feel like you're just lost in this maze of new tools and buzzwords, right? You've got Gemini, you've got Vertex, NotebookLM, the list just keeps growing. And you're probably asking yourself, how do I even begin to choose the right tool for my business? Well, the good news is there is a clear path through all this confusion, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to find that path together.
All right, so here's the secret. The key isn't to start with the cool, flashy technology. In fact, if you look at how Google themselves do this, their most successful AI projects, they start somewhere completely different. It's a really simple principle, but it's going to be your compass through this whole AI maze.
And here it is, right from the horse's mouth. This is a direct quote from Google's own strategy guidelines. Now, I want you to really let this sink in, because this is the single most important idea. Your business problem dictates the technology, not the other way around. I mean, think about it, right? Without a clear goal, even the most powerful AI in the world is just a really, really expensive hammer looking for a nail.
Okay, so what does that actually look like in the real world? It's a super simple three-step approach. First, you have to define the problem, get super specific. Second, you set a measurable outcome, something like, we need to reduce customer response time by 30%. And only then, as the very last step, do you select the tool. See? This is how you make sure your investment in AI actually pays off with real, tangible value.
All right, so you've defined your problem. Now what? How do you pick the right tool from this huge menu? Well, here's a great way to think about it. Don't think of Google's AI tools as just a long list of software. Instead, think of them as your own AI team, a team of specialists, and each one has a really unique skill. Your job as the leader is to be the manager, to pick the right specialist for the job at hand.
Okay, let's meet the team. First up, research and analysis. Let's say your problem is you have to make sense of a huge stack of your own specific documents, maybe financial reports or legal contracts. For that, you call in NotebookLM. It's your research specialist. It's grounded in your sources, so the answers it gives are traceable, they're fact-based. But if your goal is totally different, like broad creative brainstorming or just learning about a general topic, that's a job for the Gemini app. Think of it as your creative partner.
Okay, now for a problem I bet a lot of you have. Unlocking your own internal company data. You know, all that valuable information that's scattered everywhere? So to help your team actually use that info, you bring in Gemini Enterprise. It can create these custom AI agents that go out and fetch and make sense of that data. But if your goal is to build a powerful search app for your whole organization to use on top of that data, well, that's a different job. That's a job for VertexAI Search.
And what about creating brand new stuff? For content creation, you've got a whole creative team on standby. Need amazing visuals for a marketing campaign? Imagen is your text-to-image expert. Just describe what you want. Need to create a product demo video from just a single prompt or even a still image? You call on VO. And for the day-to-day stuff, like whipping up first drafts of reports or summarizing those crazy long email chains, the super efficient Gemma models are the perfect tool for that job.
Okay, let's make this really concrete. Let's look at a classic business problem. Picture a financial services company, and they are just drowning in paperwork. They're manually processing thousands and thousands of loan applications. It's slow, it's expensive, and you know there are going to be human errors. This is a perfect example of where you need that problem-first approach.
And check this out. The solution here isn't some vague, hand-wavy, let's use AI. No, it's a super precise tool for a super precise job. Document AI. This thing is a specialist. It just automates that whole workflow. It takes in the documents, uses its AI brain to pull out all the key info, and then boom, it structures all that messy data so your other systems can actually use it. This is the problem-first approach in action. You go from a clear business pain point to a targeted, high-impact solution.
Okay, so to lead any of this effectively, you've got to be able to speak the language a little bit. Now, don't worry, you don't need to become a data scientist overnight, but just getting a handle on a few key concepts will make your conversations with your technical teams so much more productive. So let's quickly decode the big ones. First on the list is hallucination, and this one is absolutely crucial to understand. This is when the AI model just confidently makes stuff up. It'll invent facts, figures, even sources out of thin air. It's not a bug, like in regular software. It's a fundamental part of how the technology works right now, and you just have to be aware of it.
And right alongside that is bias, another really critical term. This just means that the model can echo all the imbalances and prejudices that were in the gigantic piles of human-generated data it was trained on. So the key thing to get is that it's not that the AI's logic is inherently flawed. It's that the data it learned from our world contains those flaws, and the AI can sometimes spit them back out.
So a big question is, how do you get these models to learn new things? Well, you've basically got two main options. Think of it this way. The first one, RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. That's like giving the model a cheat sheet for an open book exam. You're just giving it access to new facts to reference. It's fast, and you can check its work. The other option, fine-tuning. That's more like sending the model back to school to learn a brand new skill or maybe a very specific writing style. It takes more time and effort, but it actually changes the model's core behavior.
Okay, so we've met our team of AI specialists, we've learned a bit of the lingo. Now, let's pull the camera back and look at the big picture. Because none of these tools are just floating around in space. They're all built on one single, powerful foundation.
And that foundation is VertexAI. You can think of it as the central nervous system or the command center for all of your AI projects on Google Cloud. It's the one place that handles the entire life cycle, from getting your data ready and accessing models, all the way to building, deploying, and then monitoring your own custom AI solutions. It's all in one spot.
So, why should you, as a leader, care about this? What's the bottom line? It's simple. VertexAI reduces complexity. A lot of complexity. It gives your teams one unified, secure, well-governed place for all their AI work. And that means they can stop messing around with the underlying infrastructure and actually focus on what matters, building and deploying solutions that create real business value.
All right, we've gone over the map of the tools, we've established our core problem-first principle, and we've learned the key terms. So now, let's boil all this down to your single most important first step. How do you go from just listening to this to actually doing something?
Look, if you remember only one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this. You have to shift your mindset from tool first to problem first. It's that simple. Always, always, always start with a clear business challenge, not with a cool, shiny new piece of tech. I know it sounds like a small change, but trust me, it's absolutely fundamental.
Because what that does is it completely reframes the conversation. You stop asking, hey, what can we do with this AI thing? And you start asking, how can AI help us solve our specific, measurable problems? And that changes everything. It's the difference between just playing with technology and actually driving real business results. So I'll leave you with this one question to take back to your team. What is the very first business problem you're going to solve with AI?